I'm home from my big road trips for the year. I was driving along the other night, cruising back from the great state of California, IA. My eyebrow had grown into a unibrow on my third day with about 2.5 hours worth of sleep, and I thought, you know what, no more. No more trips between now and the end of the year. None. Somebody better die for me to have to go out of town, or something major better blow up. I am going to sit here and I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to start working on ROs. So today, being the first day that I'm back, I thought I'd sit down and I would start calling people in the RO list. Where I left off was RO 30, I do believe. So the first guy I called, he says, man, I'm laying out my clothes for my mother's funeral. And I went, oh my God. He goes, can I get up with you? And I was like, dude, don't even. You call me whenever, dude. Good luck, my condolences. Left it alone. The next guy I talked to, he treated me wonderfully. He told me the truth. He goes, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not ready to do anything with any of that until next week. He goes, I thought you were going to be at least another month. And I said, no, I got to get back to work. So I said, cool, I'll set your stuff aside. And he said, right on. So he's already pulled these set aside. So we're going to jump ahead a couple numbers. This is RO number 30 and number 35. Texas Star 500 and a Palomar 225. So the story I was told by this customer is that he ordered this 500, first new amp he bought himself in years. He had a trip going, and he waited and he waited and he waited, and it came in at the last minute. So he threw the 500 on a cigarette plug adapter and got in his truck and left and took off. He ended up coming across some slack job CB shop in California. He goes, you'll understand once you get inside. Okay. So, brand new amp, not even 5 minutes of talk time on it, and it gets butchered by the first shop he goes to. So he said, please make it right, fix it, and once you see the inside, you'll understand. I said, all right, let's do that. Okay, enough. Thank you guys on the Patreon channel, by the way. This is epic. I've had worse, we'll say that. I don't know why they didn't put a fan on the heatsink where it should go, but they put one in the bottom lid. Let's get down in here and take a look at the beauty of the craftsmanship that's going on the inside. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? There's no grommets. Apparently burnt with a torch. We're going to solder over the fuse holder. We're going to bring another big piece of wire in. We're going to tie it to the case. Then it's soldered to another, well, not even soldered, crimped with heat shrink on it. Goes around over here to the corner of the cabinet. For what reason, we don't know. This wire here goes through a crimped eyelet down to the board. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. The other thing is the customer states, he goes, man, it's got this chrome switch on the front of it, and I have no idea what this switch does. He says, just make my amplifiers right and safe. So let's go over here and let's look at the Texas Star. I don't know what kind of glue this is on the heatsink, but it looks like, feels like, and scrapes off like hot glue. I don't know why. There's hot glue on everything. Let's take a look for at the back. Now, let's take a look on the inside. Woo! That's housing wire. That's good stuff right there. Got this tagged to the hot lead all the time. And that's tagged over here. Look at this. Look at how good this solder joint is. Oh, it's epic. Look at this. Ready? That's pretty. Look at that. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, so I guess what we're going to do first, our first step out of this entire process here, is let's get rid of the 50 amp Anderson clip. It's a shame because that's really good high temp silicone wire. It's actually really good wire. I might actually end up reusing this piece of wire, but we're going to definitely redo how all this is done on the inside. Okay. I guess our first step is let's pull all this, the bunk ass, bad soldered power wire out of here. And let's clean that up. And let's get in and start testing this. Look at that. Why? Why? Let's look in here. Why? Oh, that resistor's blown. Oh, input caps fell off. That resistor's popped as well, so we've got two bad pills. This is our input tune, by the way. It broke off, clean off the board. The guy's goal, this is what he told me on the phone. He goes, the idea that he has is that he wants to run this amplifier into this amplifier. To that I say, I don't think so. He goes, it's got a 3-position switch on it, so I can turn it. Not a good idea. The input circuitry to these is not the strongest in the world. There are people out there that'll tell you, but there's the modulator, the Texas Star modulator. That's what the 500 was designed to have, is the modulator driving into this. Maybe. Maybe not. I would say probably not. We'll get him fixed. However he chooses to hook him up and run them, that's on him. But it's time for us to get down with the business. Let's get down to business. All right, I shall return. Okay, so got most of the hot mess cleaned out of here. Even got most of the hot glue cleaned off this thing. Believe it or not, that looks really good compared to what it was. We got grommets installed. Imagine that, real grommets. Got the pill pockets all cleaned out. So we got to put 4 brand new transistors in it. 2 are good, 2 are bad. The 2 that were in it are DEIs. Nobody has those. And nobody's got those part numbers that were in here, so we've got to replace all 4. Which is good. That means this thing will actually last for a hot minute. We are going to reuse this high temp silicone 8 gauge. It's actually really good wire. So we're not going to reuse this 50 amp Anderson clip. This is going to go off and get used on like a 2-pill or something. We have to provide it with 100 amps worth of Anderson clips, so 175 is what we're going to install on this one. But we got all the other stuff taken care of. As I was out cleaning out the pill pockets, this is how much trash was actually underneath the pill pockets. Look at this solid piece of wire that was underneath there. Just hanging out, just waiting to short everything out. Beauty, right? Okay. Well, let's slap some transistors in this thing and get that all put back together. I'm going to utilize the 1-pill driver section as our distribution bus. Then we'll run hot leads off to that to each one of the 2-pill sections. And yeah, I gave it a bath. I got all the flux out of it. I was able to get 99% of the burn cleaned off the back. I don't know if you guys remember that this is all black, like somebody hit it with a blowtorch or something, but got all that cleaned off. And jeez, look at this. Bet you was planning on hooking a fan up there. That's where I'd go, but I'd actually use good soldering skills. Yeah, so a lot of this is plumber-based solder. So it's like you went to Home Depot and bought solder. I don't know. Don't care. We're moving on. Let's put some transistors in it. Let's clean up this mess. So here we are on day number 2. I just got tired last night and I said piss on it, and I went to bed and slept. And the television in our bedroom blew up, so I spent most of my day fixing that and determining that I don't want to fix it, and we went and bought a new TV today. So just got all that installed. Oh, can't throw the transistors out. They've got to go in the bag. The big bag for the end of year. Okay, so I think we're rounding home plate here. We're rounding third base, head for home plate, pardon me. All right, so gotta hook our fan up yet, but power wires are all in. Transistors are all in. The only thing left that I want to check is my 1.8 ohm resistor here and my 1.8 ohm resistor there. And if those pass muster, I won't need to replace them. But I've made it a firm policy around here that just because there's no visual damage does not preclude these from being damaged. Duh. So let's go in here real quick. We'll do this together here real fast, because these obviously have been changed. Let me tell that by the solder work. All right, well, that resistor's wide open, so that's going to need to be replaced. So we quietly thank God we didn't power this up, or we would have launched all the pills out of it. So now that one's also out of spec. Reads 1.4. Okay, well, let me go grab a couple from the shelf over there and we'll throw them in here real fast. All right, so fan's hooked up. Got a good power plug on it now. Amp on. Preamp is working. Let's turn the amp off. Let's go over here and look at our watt meter. That's 1,000 watt slug and peak, 1,000 average 5 watt slug and reverse back from the bird, 10,000 watt dummy load. Hello, 1 2 1 2. Let's go look at our pass through tune. Hello, 1 2 1 2. All right. So back it on out. Amp on. We're on high. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. 1 2. Hello, 1 2. Hello, 1 2. That's 700 watts peak. I'll engage our dial watt, which will add an attenuator to it. Hello. Dial watt's working. Let's go look at our input tune. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2. That looks good. Look at the input tune on high. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2. That doesn't look too bad either. So, hello, 1 2. Needle's working the way it should. Let's try it on low. Hello, 1 2. 500 watts. So, needless to say, let's flip this back around. This thing is fully functional again. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2. About 250 bird, about 700 watts peak. Okay, so now let's give the idea that we're not going to use a 30 watt radio to drive this thing. And let's hook up the derail 955, which is way too much drive for this, but we're going to do it anyhow. Because if we blow it up, I'd rather blow it up here than the customer blow it up down the road. Hello, audio 1 2. Oh wow, it gets us 50 more watts. Let's turn our dead key down to minimum. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yep, So max out of this box is 800. Hello, 1 2 1 2. Let's turn the amp off. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. I call this a win. I'm going to put this in the done pile. So now, let's see if we can resurrect that other one. It's in horrible condition compared to this thing. But the guy's got many, 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 many moons in it. As he's put it, it's literally got thousands of hours on the dash of my semi. So, put the screws in this, put a sticker on this, and we'll move on to the other one. Okay, Palomar 225. First off, let's do the world a favor. Let's get rid of that. So we go in, we get rid of all the ugly wire mess that's in this. Yeah. Remember, we salvaged this from the first amplifier. I think we're going to reuse it on this one here. And this here we're going to throw in the trash. The reason I say that is because this is pretty beat up on the inside. So beat up on the inside, the ground lug doesn't even stay in play. This is really rough. So, I mean, this is Temco wire. Go into some high temp 8-gauge silicone. I mean, this is great wire, but super overkill. Okay, so we'll set this abortion aside, that abortion aside. Let's get in here and let's pull the power wires apart. And let's do a very mild power upgrade. What does this light do? What does this switch do? It ties to this light. Is this like a manual key setup of some kind? All right, let's just get in here and let's clean all this up. I'll put some real power wires in this and we'll start over, and we'll just start from there. Well, we got all the filth cleaned out of the heatsink fins, and took it all apart, cleaned all the bad solder work off of this thing. We got all the filth cleaned off the back of the amp. This cleaned up pretty good, all things considered. So we'll slap some grommets in here. I'll use this hole here as our hole for our fan. We're going to put the fan on the heatsink side where it can actually do some good, and we're going to use a different fan. This fan here is a joke. Finally figured out what all this is. This is shoe goo. I've come to the conclusion that that's shoe goo. So let me put some new thermal paste down here on the heatsink. We're going to slide this back together. I've got a new insert that I built for this. That'll slide up in here, because this is, well, bullshit. I mean, Jenny Meth tweakerism going on here. So, power wires, and we'll hook it up and we'll see what happens. So, 1, 2, 3. Pow. Well, we figured out what the switch is for. It's for sideband delay. So, first off, let's run through the gambit of things. We're at about 15 volts, 1000 in peak, 1000 average, 5-watt silicon reverse. Okay, so, 1 2. Let's get in there where you guys can see this. 1 2. This is our pass-through tune up here. 1 2. That's pretty good. 1 2. Okay, so let's turn the amp on. We're going to start out in low. So at 30 watts, 1 2 makes about 110. Let's see, I think this medium. 1 2, and then we'll go to high. 1 2. Not 225 watts, just like it's supposed to do. Had to do some tinkering with it, but fixed your preamp. So now what we've demonstrated is that all the switches work. Here's low, hit 1, 2. Medium, hit 1, 2, 200 watts. Here's high, hit 1, 2, about 225. Preamp works just fine. Now let's check out our sideband delay. Sideband delay off. Okay. So this is all cleaned up and right. Let me go over here. God, what a day. This day has been a mess, yo. All right, so built you a new lid. This is a double-sided phenolic. Yes, let's drop the conductive thing down inside the box. It always makes a good plan. That's not dry yet, so I'm not really quite ready to put that in the amp. But the only thing we got left is we're just going to install this little low flow fan, because this thing really doesn't need that much air, if anything. And we'll tie it into the on-off switch. So we're like this close to being done. So now, I don't know about you, but I know me, and I can only assume that I represent a fairly solid middle of the road consensus on what guys are looking for when it comes to their radios. On the back here, we've installed this switch. So either you can have the fan with the front switch powered up, or you can have it so the amp is on, but it's on, but the fan is off. So down is on, up is off, and I'll put labels on everything. But this checked out good. It's got 2 good transistors in it. Input's okay, output's all right. We got rid of all the ghetto stuff over here, all of this garbage. Replaced it with good wire, heat shrink on the fittings. Inside of it's all cleaned up, last you another 20 years. Grommets on everything that needs to have grommets. Connectors are good. Everything's set up. Sideband delay, auxiliary fan switch. Preamp is working, low, medium, and high is all working. You're set. Well, gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this saga, this story. RO number 35, number 34 are complete. I'm going to leave this sit until tomorrow, because I want to make sure it's good and dry before I slide it in here. So you'll have a solid bottom on this again. No more of this stuff. Big shout out to my Patreon supporters. Like I said earlier, if I leave that segment in the video, I don't know if I will. The Patreons are what have allowed us to have the last half hour worth of time with each other with no ads. They also know exactly what I'm working on, what I'm doing every single day. There's a bunch of behind scenes content that gets created exclusively for them every day. If you ever learned anything from my channel, think about coming and joining us, because remember, YouTube don't pay for nothing. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like if you choose. If you've never subscribed, you might want to think about doing it. Big thanks to you guys out there that watch and follow along. ROs 34 and 35 are completed. Moving on to RO number 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43.